Yo, what's up guys? In this video, we are going to talk about how to treat your depression, how to cure your depression, how to fix your depression, because it is a fake disease. It's not real. You're not really depressed. So sorry if that's been your identity for the past couple years and you're using it as an excuse for your awful life, and because you're fat because you're depressed, and you're broke because you're depressed, and you're I don't know, whatever, because you're depressed. Yeah, you're just faking it, sorry. I'm not really sorry though, because you are faking it. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that right now, so here we go. But before we get into that, if you like videos like this about fasting, fitness, mental health, and other stuff, subscribe to my channel. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers very soon, so subscribe. Also, go support me on Patreon. I have some cool stuff over there as well. Plus, I am doing 30 days of live coaching very soon. Well, I will teach people how to create an information product or a video course where you can establish yourself as an expert and sell your courses and make money and just be a cool person overall. It's $100, by the way. So link in the description if you want to do that. Yeah, you have to pay for it. I need some new duct tape. Okay, so let's talk about depression, all right? Now, what am I saying? Depression is a fake disease. You don't really have depression. I kind of mean that, right? And I made videos about this before, are you eating well? Are you fasting? Are you exercising? If the answer is no to any of those, you're not depressed. You just have shitty health, and that shitty health is just making you feel bad, okay? Now let's just say you're well, I went to a doctor and my doctor said blah, 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 I'm depressed. Okay, that's cool, good for your doctor, but I got news for you, okay? Now, here's this news, right? It's very scientific. I was listening to Jordan Peterson's audiobook, 12 Rules for Life. It's a very good book. I've listened to it several times. I listen to it when I do cardio. And in one of the chapters, I forget which one, he mentions this several times, where he talks about how human existence always has this kind of background anxiety and this background feeling of the present moment not being good enough. Right? And the present, just wanting to get to the future when this problem will be solved, or you will have attained that other thing. And when I heard that, this was after I made my depression video a couple days ago, but when I heard that, it coincided with that, and it kind of made me think everybody feels this way, right? You're not unique in your feelings of sadness. In fact, I would even say that most people, most of the time, feel bad, right? Take your average person. Your average person is gonna feel bad and think about bad things and just not feel good all the time, right? That's the standard, you know? So where do you draw the line, and where do you say oh, I'm depressed, or this person is depressed? Well, the difference is that depressed people just don't do anything. They're just have totally checked out. And I think the reason and the problem is that all of a sudden this feeling, right, has been labeled by society or by the medical profession as this quote unquote disease, which it's just a terrible word in general. Oh, I have a medical disease. A doctor said so. It's written in a textbook somewhere. So now I don't ever have to try or do anything because I feel bad sometimes. Well, boo fucking who, dude? We all feel bad all the time. Everybody, pick anybody you want, they're always thinking about some problem they have, or some anxiety they have, or some awful thing that could go really wrong in the future, and they have this fantasy world that they live in, you know, their ideal world. When this one thing happens, they'll just be happy, right? It's another thing. It's you're essentially waiting to give yourself permission to be happy for something, you know, only in the future you'll be happy, right? When I make $100,000, when I make $1 million, when I'm famous, when I'm this, when I'm that, when I'm thin, I'll be happy. But what's the problem with that is you're essentially training yourself to never be happy, right? You're training yourself to not appreciate the small wins and the small victories, and to always feel terrible, and to again label yourself as this sad creature who's defective, who has a genetic disease, who came out of the factory with a missing arm or something, when really you're just mislabeling this like very low grade feeling of not enoughness that literally every single human being on the planet has. Like, I do a lot of traveling, and you know, in the West, let's just say, they talk about how like, oh, in the West we're not happy, but in third world countries, like, everybody has nothing and they're so happy. Like, they're happier, you know, for sure. Like, you know, on the beach in Thailand, like, they're definitely happier than like your average like office drone who like hates his life, for sure. But they still feel that like low grade bad feeling, how like now is not enough, and like in the future this thing will be good and then I'll be allowed to be happy, right? That's a universal human emotion that everybody feels. And the like, if you want to lose, like you want a guaranteed strategy for losing, you just like label that as depression, and then guess what? You're never going to try, right? Oh, I can't try, I can't make money, I can't go on a job interview, I can't like do anything to improve my life because I have depression. Like, it's such a load of shit. Like, okay, fine, I get it. There's like physical aspects to depression. You feel literally depressed, like somebody is pushing on you. I understand. But, you know, you I want to be like, just don't be. But like, just follow the first 3 steps that I said in the beginning of the video, which is like, eat less, eat healthy food, and go to the fucking gym, and you won't be as depressed. And then also, furthermore, like, okay, there's 2 types, right? Are you like an unhealthy person? Then no shit, you're depressed. Like, I eat, you know, a sandwich with some bread, and the next day I feel bad, right? Because my system is so pure. You know, not trying to brag, but like, when you eat pure, clean food, and you sweat, and you like exercise all the time, and you eat that like fake bread shit food, you're gonna feel bad, because your body's like, what the hell is this shit? Now, imagine you eating pizza and like synthetic food and just like not, you know, when's the last time you exercised? Ask yourself that. Like, are you depressed? Yeah? Well, when's the last time you seen the inside of a gym? You know? But anyway, the point is that like, you need to understand that this bad feeling is just like universal to everybody. And you're not special. I'm sorry. Like, the reasons you're a loser are not special reasons. Like, you're the same as everybody else. We all have the same problems, and yes, the fact that everybody else is making it and you're not means you're a loser, okay? Sorry, not sorry, but it's not for any other reason. We all have the same opportunity. Yeah, fine, we all start from different places, right? Like, let's take fitness, for example. You know, some people are gonna start with more muscle mass, right? All things being equal. Some people are gonna start with more fat, some people are gonna start skinnier. Some people taller, shorter, blah, blah, blah. But the second that you believe that the ability to change is outside your responsibility and your capability, you're never going to change, you know? And that's fine. If you want to be like a drain on society and the people around you, like, that's cool, like, no problem. And there's different levels of drain on society, right? Society, like your peers. There's different levels of that. Some people are like black hole, like outer dimensional, like suck the life out of you, can't stand to be around them because they're so bad. You like literally can't listen to their problems anymore. And other people, maybe just on the other side of the spectrum, you have people who have like 1 or 2 little problems who like can't seem to solve them, quote unquote, no matter what. But really what it is they've just labeled themselves in a way that has like, that like pulls the rug out from under them and prevents them from ever getting success because of this belief that they have, right? Like, if you believe, oh, I'm depressed, I have depression, which is a medical condition, and there's no cure for depression. Oh, that's even better. There's no cure for depression. Well, not only have you excused yourself of any responsibility of ever changing, but now there's no cure for it. So now you have an excuse for your entire life. And not only that, you have like the moral high ground where you can like talk shit about people who tell you to stop being a little bitch, essentially. You know, like, what more could you want? You know, honestly, what more you could want is to just feel good. But like, do you really want to feel good? You know, because like, imagine all of the stuff that you have to give up if you actually start feeling good. Number one, it's going to be hard to like go to the gym and eat healthy and get your ass out of bed and, you know, like change your life in positive ways. That's hard. And number two, you lose the moral high ground, which arguably is like the more powerful motivator Because you essentially can win any argument with anybody anytime you want. And that's like, that's real power, right? When you can play that trump card and you can be like, oh, haha, depression, sorry, you lose, I'm depressed, conversation over. And not only conversation over, but like, you should feel bad that you ever criticized me. And look, I'm not exempt from this. I don't play the depression card, but I play other cards probably sometimes. Recently I was trying to learn a certain piece of software and I couldn't figure it out, and I was just like, I just can't do it. It's just not for me, right? I've tried this, I've tried that, and I just couldn't do it. Meanwhile, I see people who are like, they honestly look to me like they've had like a head injury in the past and are like still recovering from it, figure it out, and like run circles around me because of it. Okay, but it wasn't until I admitted to myself that like, yeah, okay, like I can do this too. There's nothing that prevents me from doing it. Even just like saying that and believing that it's true means that it actually is true. All right, so like, let's say you actually want to solve this problem, you want to fix it, you don't want to be depressed anymore, and you're like, you know what, you're right, I am a little bitch, how can I change? God, I don't even want to say it again. It's like, so like eat healthy, exercise fast, done. Like, I'm not even gonna go into that anymore. But what's really more important is just having the belief that you're not depressed, right? That it's essentially like a label from society because, I don't know, they just don't want to deal with like sad people anymore. Like, it's so much easier. Like, we love labeling things, like everybody loves to label stuff. It saves us from actually having to think, right? Labels are very useful. The question is, what label are you using? Are you using labels that are productive and that will help you? Or are you using, pre-made labels generated by society or people in your family or peer group that are not helping you, right? Like, if you're like the fat guy or the fat girl, that's your label, but is that good to have that label, right? If you're like the unhealthy guy, or you like make jokes about like how, oh, I'm always sick. Oh, it's just, here we go again with my sickness. Nobody knows why. I don't know. Like, to me, it just seems obvious. And, you start to lose your patience to help people once you see that. Nothing against people or anything, but like, you just want to like tell them that they're wrong. I don't know how else to say it. You're just wrong. Okay, so like, was that even helpful for you? Like, it's like that joke, that meme where it's like, oh, like somebody, like there's somebody who's whatever, and like they say, their mom says like, just stop being depressed. And it's like, oh, thank you. Like, I'm done, I'm cured. But yeah, like I said, like eat healthy, fast, and like work out. That's like 90% of your problem right there. And again, just believe that it's literally just like a label from society for this low grade bad feeling that we all have about the present, that it's not good enough. It's very human, it's very natural. But once you caught up in believing that it's quote unquote depression and it's like this magical disease that like will prevent you from ever getting the life you want, well, guess what? Like, who's gonna ever want to be around you like with that attitude? Okay, so if that was helpful, I don't know, is that helpful? I just feel like, I feel like it's bad to have like emit that kind of negative energy, but I could be wrong. So if you like that, subscribe, check out my digital marketing channel as well, doing 30 days of live coaching where I will help you create an information product where you brand yourself as an expert. I've got a ton of extras that I'm throwing in as well. It's $100, and check me out on Patreon. I've got some other stuff on there as well that you can do. I'm exhausted. Peace.